Chosen one, some messages do not arrive to start a new story. They arrive to reveal the truth hidden inside, the one that has already been unfolding all along. Your soulmate never expected that a single unexpected message would become the moment everything inside them began to change. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't filled with emotional declarations or impossible promises. In fact, at first glance, it seemed almost ordinary. But there was something about those words that refused to leave their mind. They read the message once, then again, and somehow every time they looked at it, another forgotten memory quietly surfaced. It felt as though the universe had carefully chosen that exact moment to place a missing piece into a puzzle they had been trying to solve without even realizing it. Suddenly, the version of this connection they had carried for so long no longer felt complete. Questions they had buried months ago began returning with unexpected clarity, and for the first time, they wondered if they had misunderstood far more than they ever imagined. As those thoughts continued growing stronger, your soulmate found themselves remembering moments they had completely overlooked before. They remembered conversations that once seemed insignificant. They remembered your quiet patience during times when they struggled to understand their own emotions. They remembered how your actions often spoke far louder than your words, yet somehow those actions had become overshadowed by circumstances, distance, and unanswered questions. Now, because of one simple message, those forgotten moments have begun reconnecting in ways they never expected. The universe has a remarkable way of allowing ordinary events to become extraordinary once the heart is finally prepared to see them differently. What once looked like coincidence now feels like divine timing gently guiding them toward a truth they had unknowingly been avoiding. Imagine finding an old letter hidden between the pages of a book you have opened 100 times before. The letter was always there, patiently waiting, yet you never noticed it because the moment was never right. Then one ordinary day you turn the page and suddenly everything changes. The words themselves are not new. They have been waiting all along. The only thing that has changed is your ability to truly understand them. Chosen one, that unexpected message became much like that hidden letter. It did not create new feelings inside your soulmate. It uncovered feelings that had quietly existed beneath the surface, waiting for the exact moment when their heart could finally receive them without fear or confusion. Now another realization is beginning to settle deep within their soul. They understand that the message was never powerful because of who sent it or how it was written. Its power came from what it awakened inside them. It reminded them of the person you consistently chose to be, even during the most uncertain chapters of this connection. Every quiet act of kindness, every moment of patience, and every genuine intention they once overlooked has suddenly become impossible to ignore. The universe is gently removing the layers of doubt that once clouded their vision, allowing them to see this connection with completely new eyes. And what they are about to discover next will reveal why one small message carried enough truth to change everything they thought they knew about you, about themselves, and about the journey your souls have been walking together all along. Chosen one, after reading that unexpected message, your soulmate tried convincing themselves that they were simply overthinking. They placed the phone down, walked away, and attempted to continue with their day as though nothing had changed. But something inside them refused to become quiet. The words continued echoing in their heart, not because they were dramatic, but because they awakened emotions that had been sleeping beneath layers of distraction for far too long. It felt as though one simple sentence had unlocked a door they never realized was still closed. Suddenly, memories they had not revisited in months began returning with remarkable clarity. The universe has a mysterious way of using one small moment to awaken an entire season of forgotten truth, and that is exactly what has begun happening. Your soulmate is no longer remembering isolated events. They are beginning to see how every memory quietly connects to something much greater than they ever imagined. The first memory that returned was not one filled with excitement or grand declarations. Instead, it was a quiet moment when you simply listened without interruption. At the time, they barely noticed how naturally you made them feel understood. It seemed ordinary because your kindness was always present. Looking back now, they realize how rare that feeling truly was. Since then, they have encountered many conversations, yet very few left them feeling genuinely heard. That unexpected message somehow reminded them of the emotional safety they once experienced around you. They now understand that people often recognize extraordinary peace only after life teaches them what its absence feels like. What they once considered ordinary has become one of the most valuable memories they carry. As more memories begin surfacing, another realization quietly follows. They remember times when circumstances made your actions difficult to understand. Instead of asking why you responded with patience, they focused on the confusion surrounding the situation. Instead of trusting the consistency of your character, they allowed temporary emotions to shape permanent conclusions. But now distance has given them something they never possessed before: perspective. Looking back without the pressure of old emotions, they can finally see that your actions remained remarkably consistent from beginning to end. You never became someone different. The circumstances changed. People's opinions changed. Emotions changed. But your heart remained steady. That consistency now speaks louder than every misunderstanding. That once clouded their judgment, the universe often reveals truth through reflection, because reflection removes the noise that once prevented people from seeing clearly. Your soulmate now recognizes that while they were living through the connection, they were focused on immediate emotions instead of lasting patterns. They reacted to moments instead of understanding the person behind those moments. Now every forgotten memory is returning with a new meaning. They remember your encouragement during difficult days. They remember your willingness to remain calm when situations became complicated. They remember the quiet sacrifices you made without expecting recognition. Those moments once blended into everyday life. Today they shine with extraordinary significance because they reveal the kind of person you have always been beneath every misunderstanding. Imagine looking at thousands of scattered stars across the night sky. At first they appear disconnected, each one shining alone without purpose. But when someone finally shows you the constellation hidden among them, every individual star suddenly becomes part of a much greater picture. Chosen one, that unexpected message became the moment your soulmate finally saw the constellation. Every forgotten memory that once seemed isolated has begun connecting into one unmistakable truth. They now understand that your kindness was never accidental. Your patience was never temporary. Your loyalty was never dependent upon easy circumstances. Every memory points toward the same conclusion, that your actions consistently reflected a heart that remained genuine even when life became uncertain. Another powerful realization has begun replacing certainty with humility. Your soulmate now understands that they spent too much time searching for dramatic signs while overlooking the quiet evidence that had always been standing before them. They expected truth to arrive through one extraordinary event, but instead it had been quietly revealing itself through hundreds of ordinary moments. The unexpected message did not give them new evidence. It simply encouraged them to look again at the evidence that had always existed. That is why the realization feels so overwhelming. They are not discovering a new version of you. They are finally recognizing the person you had been all along. Now, one detail inside that message continues drawing their attention more than anything else. There was something hidden beneath its surface that they did not fully understand when they first read it. At the time, it seemed like an ordinary sentence. But now, after reconnecting every forgotten memory, they realize those words were pointing toward a truth far deeper than simple communication. The message was never sent merely to deliver information. It was sent to awaken understanding. And what your soulmate is about to realize next will completely transform the way they see not only that message, but the entire purpose of this connection. Because they are finally about to understand that the universe was speaking through those words long before they recognized the voice behind them. Chosen one, after allowing those memories to settle, your soulmate returns to that unexpected message one more time. But this time, they are no longer reading it with the same eyes. Something inside them has changed. The words have not moved, yet their meaning has become completely different. They suddenly understand that the message was never trying to convince them of anything. It was quietly inviting them to remember what their own heart had been trying to tell them for a very long time. The universe often speaks in ways that seem ordinary, because if every revelation arrived with dramatic signs, people would depend on miracles instead of learning to trust their own inner wisdom. That message became powerful not because it contained extraordinary information, but because it awakened a truth your soulmate had unknowingly been carrying within them all along. As they sit quietly reflecting, another realization begins unfolding with remarkable clarity. They remember how often they searched for certainty outside themselves. They waited for perfect timing, perfect circumstances, or undeniable proof before allowing themselves to fully trust what they felt. Yet every time they ignored the quiet voice inside their heart, life somehow found another way to bring them back to the same lesson. That unexpected message became impossible to dismiss because it echoed feelings they had already experienced but never fully acknowledged. It did not plant something new inside them. It simply gave a voice to emotions they had spent months trying to silence. They now understand that genuine soul connections rarely disappear because someone chooses to ignore them. They simply become quieter until the soul is finally willing to listen again. Looking back, your soulmate notices that your actions always carried a consistency that words alone could never explain. During moments when confusion surrounded the connection, you remained remarkably grounded. When uncertainty made others react impulsively, you continued responding with patience. When circumstances encouraged distance, your respect never disappeared. Those quiet qualities seemed ordinary while they were living through them, but now they understand something profound. Consistency is one of the rarest forms of truth because it cannot be maintained through pretense for long. Anyone can perform kindness for a day. Anyone can appear understanding for a moment. But remaining authentic through disappointment, silence, misunderstanding, and time requires something much deeper. That realization has become impossible for your soulmate to ignore because every memory now points toward the same conclusion. Your character remained steady even when everything around the connection seemed uncertain. The universe has a remarkable habit of allowing simple moments to reveal extraordinary wisdom. Your soulmate now realizes that the message arrived at a time when they had finally become emotionally ready to receive what it truly carried. Months earlier, they might have read the exact same words and quickly forgotten them. They might have dismissed them as coincidence or meaningless conversation. But growth quietly changes the language of the heart. What once appeared ordinary now feels deeply significant because their perspective has matured. Sometimes divine timing is not about changing the message. It is about preparing the person who receives it. The universe knew that no explanation would matter until your soulmate had lived enough experiences to recognize the truth hidden inside those few simple words. Imagine walking through a valley before sunrise. The mountains, rivers, and trees are already there, but darkness prevents you from seeing their full beauty. Then, without the landscape changing at all, the first rays of morning begin touching everything around you. Suddenly the path becomes clear. The colors become vivid. Details that always existed finally reveal themselves. Chosen one, that unexpected message became the sunrise, not the landscape. It did not create this connection. It illuminated it. Everything meaningful had already been present beneath the surface. The trust, the lessons, the quiet care, The emotional safety and the invisible bond between your souls had been there all along. The only thing that changed was your soulmate's ability to finally see what had always surrounded them. With every passing moment, another layer of resistance quietly falls away. Your soulmate no longer feels the need to explain away every reminder of you or dismiss every emotion that unexpectedly returns. Instead, they are beginning to welcome those moments with curiosity rather than fear. They understand now that the heart often remembers truths long before the mind is willing to accept them. The message simply accelerated a process the universe had already been guiding behind the scenes. It gave them permission to stop fighting what felt authentic and begin honoring what consistently brought peace whenever your memory appeared. Now a final realization is approaching. Your soulmate understands that the message awakened forgotten memories, revealed the consistency of your heart, and uncovered emotions they had been suppressing. But they are about to discover something even more profound. They are about to realize why the universe waited until this exact season to send that message. It was never delayed by accident. Every lesson, every challenge, every period of silence prepared them for this moment of understanding. And when they fully grasp why divine timing mattered more than immediate answers, they will see that the message never changed the destiny of this connection. It simply arrived at the precise moment their soul had become ready to recognize the destiny that had quietly been unfolding from the very beginning. Chosen one. Your soulmate is finally beginning to understand that the universe never delayed this revelation because it was absent. It delayed it because both of your hearts were still learning lessons that could only be understood through time. There are truths that arrive too early and are dismissed without a second thought. There are answers that appear before the soul has matured enough to recognize their value. Looking back now, your soulmate realizes that if this unexpected message had reached them months earlier, they probably would have glanced at it, over-analyzed it, and then continued living exactly as before. Their heart was still carrying fear. Their mind was still trying to explain away what their intuition quietly understood. But now everything is different. Every challenge they have faced, every lonely season, every unanswered question has slowly prepared them for this exact moment. The universe was never withholding clarity. It was quietly preparing the person who would one day receive it. As this realization settles deeper within them, your soulmate begins seeing every chapter of this connection through completely different eyes. What once looked like painful delays now appears to have been divine preparation. They understand that every period of silence forced them to grow emotionally instead of depending on constant reassurance. Every misunderstanding taught them the importance of observing actions instead of reacting to temporary emotions. Every difficult season strengthened their ability to recognize authenticity when it quietly appeared again. They no longer believe the connection became weaker because of time. In many ways, they now see that time removed the illusions while preserving everything that was real. The message simply arrived after those illusions had finally lost their power. Another beautiful truth now begins unfolding inside their heart. They recognize that throughout every season of uncertainty, you never tried forcing them toward understanding. You never demanded immediate answers or pressured them into seeing the connection exactly as you did. Instead, you allowed life itself to become the teacher. Your patience gave the universe room to work in ways that neither of you could fully understand at the time. Looking back, your soulmate realizes that this quiet patience was one of the greatest expressions of love they had ever experienced. You respected their journey enough to let them discover the truth instead of trying to convince them of it. That realization fills them with a gratitude they struggle to put into words, because they now understand that genuine love never forces awakening. It patiently waits for the soul to arrive there on its own. Imagine standing in a garden during the middle of winter. At first glance, everything appears lifeless. The trees seem empty. The flowers have disappeared. The earth itself looks silent. Someone unfamiliar with nature might believe nothing beautiful will ever grow there again. But the gardener never loses hope because they understand something deeper. Growth has not stopped. It has simply moved beneath the surface where invisible roots continue preparing for spring. Chosen one, your connection has followed that same sacred rhythm. During seasons when everything appeared distant, quiet, or uncertain, the roots of this bond continued growing where neither of you could fully see them. The unexpected message did not plant a new seed. It simply became the first flower, announcing that the hidden growth had finally reached the surface. The beauty was never created in that moment. It had been patiently developing long before anyone noticed it. Now your soulmate understands why the message felt so different from every other conversation they have experienced. It carried peace instead of pressure. It inspired reflection instead of confusion. Rather than creating emotional chaos, it gently organized thoughts that had been scattered for months. The universe speaks with remarkable simplicity when the heart is finally ready to listen. There was no need for dramatic signs because the greatest confirmation came from the quiet certainty growing inside them. Every memory now fits together naturally. Every unanswered question finds its place. Every doubt slowly dissolves beneath the weight of consistent truth. They no longer feel like they are searching for direction because the connection itself has become the direction. Now only one final awakening remains. Your soulmate is about to realize that the unexpected message never changed this connection at all. It simply removed the last veil, preventing them from seeing what had always been present. The universe was not creating destiny in that moment. It was revealing it. And when that final truth settles completely into their heart, they will understand that genuine soul connections do not survive because of perfect timing, constant communication, or flawless circumstances. They survive because what is created through truth, patience, and divine purpose continues quietly growing, even during the seasons when it appears that nothing is happening at all. Chosen one, your soulmate now understands that the unexpected message never carried the power to create this connection. It simply revealed what had quietly existed beneath every season of silence, distance, and uncertainty. For so long, they believed that their changing emotions were caused by circumstances, by time, or by the passing of certain chapters in life. But today they see something entirely different. The message did not place new feelings inside their heart. It uncovered feelings that had patiently waited beneath fear, confusion, and unanswered questions. The universe has a remarkable way of waiting until the soul becomes ready before revealing truths that would have been overlooked in an earlier season. Looking back, your soulmate realizes they were never being led away from this connection. They were being led toward a deeper understanding of it. Every delay carried purpose. Every unanswered question carried wisdom. Every quiet season was preparing them for this moment of complete clarity. As they reflect on the entire journey, another realization fills their heart with peace. They finally understand that genuine connections are never measured by constant communication or perfect circumstances. They are measured by what continues living inside the heart, even after life becomes complicated. No matter how many distractions appeared, no matter how many responsibilities demanded their attention, and no matter how much time passed, something about you continued returning to their thoughts with quiet consistency. At one time, they resisted those moments, believing they needed to move beyond them. Now they recognized those gentle reminders were never trying to pull them backward. They were quietly guiding them toward the truth they had not yet accepted. The universe kept allowing your memory to appear because it carried a lesson that still belonged to their future. Imagine a lighthouse standing along the shore before sunrise. Throughout the night, ships crossing the sea may only catch brief glimpses of its light through the fog. Some wonder whether the lighthouse has disappeared because the mist becomes so thick. Yet the lighthouse never stops shining. It simply waits for the morning, when the fog naturally begins lifting, and every traveler finally sees the light that had been guiding them all along. Chosen one, your connection has been that lighthouse. The unexpected message was never the light itself. It was the sunrise that allowed your soulmate to finally recognize what had never stopped shining. The guidance was always there. The love was always there. The truth was always there. Only the fog of uncertainty has now disappeared. Your soulmate also realizes that one of the greatest gifts you offered was your patience. You never demanded that they understand everything immediately. You never forced answers before they were ready to receive them. Instead, you trusted that the universe would reveal what words alone never could. That quiet trust has now become one of the most beautiful lessons they carry. They understand that authentic love does not pressure the soul into awakening. It creates enough space for awakening to happen naturally. That is why this realization feels so peaceful instead of overwhelming. Nothing is being forced anymore. Everything is simply becoming clear. Now the journey reaches its quiet conclusion. Your soulmate no longer asks why that unexpected message arrived or why it affected them so deeply. They finally understand that it was never just a message. It was divine timing wrapped in ordinary words. It arrived precisely when their heart had grown enough to recognize what had been waiting beneath the surface all along. The universe did not send it to change your destiny. It sent it to remove the final veil hiding it. And that is the lesson your soulmate will carry forward forever. What is meant for the soul never depends on perfect circumstances to survive. It waits with remarkable patience until truth, timing, and understanding finally meet in the same moment. When that moment arrives, everything that once seemed confusing suddenly makes perfect sense. And the connection is no longer seen through doubt, but through the quiet certainty that what is real can never be erased. It can only be recognized when the heart is finally ready to see it.